going to dive into specifically the team sergeant, which is what I would consider the most important job, minus maybe the 18 Echo, because we know those guys rock. But in general, the 18 Zulu is the core. He's the man, and the captain commands the team. The warrant officer helps do that, and all the jobs are all obviously important. But realistically, if you don't have the team sergeant, everything's falling apart. If you don't have a good team sergeant, you've got a shit show of a team, and I've seen plenty of those. If you have an excellent team sergeant, then things are going to look really different for you. I talk about often, guys ask questions that are very specific to their like when they get to their team or when they get to their deployment, how it's going to look. And when people ask me very specific questions, well, often my answer is, well, that depends on your team sergeant, because the reality is it does. And I can give examples of how my team sergeant did things, how team sergeants I've known have done things, how team sergeants I've seen have done things. But realistically, the beauty of a special forces team is the idea that it's organic and it evolves and it changes. And that's basically done through the team sergeant, because it's his baby, it's his ship. He sets the discipline, he sets the expectations, he sets everything. He's the leader of the team. The captain is as well, but realistically, it's more the team sergeant than the captain, in my opinion. And so in general, this is the man. He's the show. He runs everything. He's the core. He's the heartbeat. He's the pulse. He's the culture. He's the vibe. He's the enforcer. He's the man in general. And so let's dive into the 18 Zulu. The senior special forces sergeant on an ODA, and easily one of the most highly trained soldiers in the Army, in my opinion. The senior special forces sergeant on the ODA takes years of training and gathering intelligence and knowledge and experiences and all these different combat operations in order to be able to lead a team of the highest trained combat guys we have in the Army. And so every team sergeant that I see, if you open their ERB, which is their record brief that shows like all the stuff that you do in the Army, ORB for officers, is just exhaustive. It's so much stuff. I remember looking at my team sergeants and trying to figure out like all the stuff that he'd done, and I started adding it up, and I'm just like, dude, this guy's forgot more stuff about being a Green Beret than I have, and I just got here. And that's the way it's supposed to be set up, because who else is going to mentor you and counsel you and lead you to the promised land of knowledge and experiences but somebody that's already been there. All right, so let's dive into some of the schematics of who these team sergeants are, what's their rank, what are the requirements, how does it work out, like things like that. So in general, the team sergeant is usually an E8 or a master sergeant, but I'll be honest with you, it's not always like that. As a matter of fact, my team sergeant, for most of the time that I was in, was an E7. And he was an E7 promotable to E8, and he just hadn't gotten there yet. And so for whatever reason, just different things. But he had been around forever, and he had done everything that an E7 would want, and he's done a lot of things before that an E8 would want. I was the first team that he took, and so he had never taken another team before. He showed up to my team around the same time that I did. I think that like maybe a month before. But there's a reason that they told him that as an E7 you can go take a team. It's because he was ready. Officially known as the operations sergeant, he's the senior enlisted member of the detachment. So his job is to advise the team leader or the captain on all the operations and all the training matters. Everything that's involved in ops and training, he's the guy, and he advises the commander on how it should be done. He provides all the tactical and technical guidance and professional support to all of the detachment members, meaning he's been around so long. If you're an 18 Charlie and he was an 18 Delta, he can probably tell you what your 18 Charlie problem is. If you don't know where to go, or you have limited access to information, if something's broken, doesn't matter what your MOS is, he probably knows the answer to it, or he can put you in a position to connect you with somebody that knows the answer.